I can like sing a little bit in the morning. Sing is so unifying. Find a common place in song. You know, the Beis HaMikdash is a place filled with song. Just filled with song, filled with music. The days of Mashiach are going to be very musical. Filled with music. So if you like music now, you're going to really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're in the Shahako. Where do we go to today?
Costa Rica.
Costa, my favorite destination. In the coffee, I like many destinations. So Baruch Hashem, I wanted to begin today the Sugi of Rosh Hashanah. And you know, when you're in the world of Rabbi Nachman, Rosh Hashanah is a large inyan. It's a big, big topic. So let's look inside, my dear friends. We're inside the Torah in Ois Zion. So Rabbi Nachman's going to speak about Rosh Hashanah. And this is one of the pivotal Torahs that speak about Rosh Hashanah. And to understand the centrality of Rosh Hashanah, we all kind of know that Rosh Hashanah is kind of one of these big days. And even growing up myself in a Reform synagogue, you knew it was kind of a big thing. You knew it was a big thing. You didn't appreciate that if you didn't present your ticket at the door, that they wouldn't let you in. But it was a big thing. Rosh Hashanah is a big thing. And Yom Kippur is a big thing, but really Yom Kippur is coming out. Yom Kippur is sort of the end of the Rosh Hashanah experience. It begins with Rosh Hashanah. B'Rosh Hashanah yikasevun, b'Yom Tzom Kippur yichaseimun. On Rosh Hashanah were written, and on Yom Kippur were sealed. And therefore, Rosh Hashanah is really the beginning. Rosh Hashanah is the writing. And this whole Torah is about writing, the Ksav Yadin. This whole Torah is about writing. And Rosh Hashanah is the day of writing. And people know that there are these books. There's books. Shalosh Sfarim Niftachim Rosh Hashanah. There's 3 books that are open on Rosh Hashanah. The Sifrin Shel Tzadikim, the Sifrin Shel Rishayim, and the Sifrin Shel Beinanim. The book of the Tzadikim, and those are Nichtav and Nichtam, La'alta, L'chaim, Toim, L'sham. Those ones are written and sealed immediately on Rosh Hashanah. And there's the Sifrin Shel Rishayim, and those are also written and sealed on Rosh Hashanah. But then there's the Sefer Shel Beinanim, that's written on Rosh Hashanah. It's Tolui ve'oimdim ad Yom HaKippurim, and then it's waiting until Yom HaKippurim. The Sefer Shel Beinani, the Tanya Kadisha. But good thing there's the Sefer Shel Rishayim, L'kutei Maran, that even if you think you're not going to make it, even there's hope. There's a tikva. Yeah, Yosef.
And Mali Melech is for the tzaddikim?
Mali Melech is for the tzaddikim. I suggest learning all those Sfarim. The Mali Melech, the Tanya Kadisha, and L'kutei Maran. And that's the Tzibur, the entire Tzibur Rosh Tevis, Tzadik Beinani V'Rasha. Tzibur. Because every Tzibur has a mixture of different chevra. And everybody finds their place in the tzibur. And to know that you have a place in the tzibur, part of the tzibur. Tzadik Beinani V'Rasha. And in the end, my dear friends, everyone's going to have a tikkun. Everyone's going to have the fixing. In the end. In the end. Lo yidach b'menu nidach. Nobody's going to be fully cast away. Miktsei hashamayim akabetzcha, from the edges of the shamayim. I'll find you over there. I'll find those payas and I'll pull them on over. Even from the depths of Gehenna, something there, we'll find something, that little tweezer, and we'll pluck something, some little payalach, and we'll pull you back. Even miktsei hashamayim. Even from the edges of Shemayim. And Rosh Hashanah is the day of the Yom Haras Olam, the day of the birthing of the world. Rosh Hashanah is the day of Nifkeda HaAkaris, the Pekidus HaAkaris. It's the day when the women who are not able to give birth finally are Nifka, they're able to give birth. But Rosh Hashanah, Sarah Nifkeda, Sarah Imenu, who was not able to have a child on Rosh Hashanah, becomes from barren to fertile. Rivka Imenu, the mother of Yaakov Avinu, the Rosh Hashanah, Nifkeda Rivka, Chana, Alanar Azeh Spalalti, Shmuel. Shmuel, we're going to see psukim from Shmuel here. That by Rosh Hashanah, Chana is also Nifkeda. Her womb is opened up. There's an opening on Rosh Hashanah. And the whole month of Elul now, which is the preparation, is Pesach li pischoi shel machat. Just open up for me in your heart a tiny little hole the size of a needle. Ve'eftach lachem pischoi shel ulam. And I will open up for you a entrance the size of a palace. Just open up one little pintala in your heart, and I'll open up everything for you. Just have to make one little move. Just open up a little bit in your heart, and I'll open up everything for you. And those are the days of Elul, the Ani L'Doidi V'Doidi Li, and that's the shofar of Elul. The heilige shofar of Elul is arousing us, it's awakening us. You took a shofar ba'ir va'am lo yecharadu. They're going to blow a shofar in the city and the nation's not going to become Haredi. Of course they are. They're going to become Yecheradu. They're going to become trembling with the vibes of the shofar. There's a shofar that went off about an hour ago maybe. When the shofar is blowing, Ve'am lo yecheradu, will we not be awakened for tshuva, for the Pischli Pesach Shel Macha, to open up just a little opening in your heart. Eini mevakesh mikem ela devarim. Hashem says, in the end of days, the only thing that I ask from you is your words. Just your words. You know, in the olden days, the big tzaddikim used to do big stuff, you know what I'm saying? They used to fast for 84 days straight, and the Baba Sali didn't eat from Shabbos till Shabbos. He ate very, very little. I'm saying only at night, a little te'ima, sometimes maybe. Many days, me'ez la'ez, not eating. And then on Shabbos, he had 36 dips. The techala.
When you say 84 days straight, does this include Shabbos?
Not on Shabbos.
And this is for spilling seed?
There's such a thing. But in our generation, we don't do that anymore. We just eat at a pidyon haben. Pei dalet haniyus, which is the 84, is a lotion of pidyon. A pidyon haben. And therefore, that's why we give out the garlic and the sugar cubes by the pidyon haben, because the segul of eating by the pidyon haben is like fasting 84 days. It's much easier to eat a ganze freiliche mitzvah sudas mitzvah dika suda by the pidyon haben, and then bring that sugar cube and put it in your chaver's coffee, and he could eat from the pidyon haben, and put that clove of garlic in the chulent that your 100 guests can eat by the pidyon haben. It's a much easier way to do it. And because in our generation we're a shvach ador, we're weakened, the koyach of our goof is not as strong as they used to be. They used to sleep very, very little. They used to do all sorts of sigufim, v'taniyos, fasting and rolling around in the snow. You know the Babas, when they went to the mikveh in Europa, what they did? Now, I went ice fishing a couple times, you know what I'm saying? And you have this thing and you cut through the ice on Lake Simcoe, Lake Simcha, north of Toronto. And you cut through the ice and you put your little rod in. Uncle Mike, of blessed memory. And we would fish together, and you're wearing some down coat like this. And the Babas are breaking through the ice with a hammer to take a mikveh, the Mesiras Nefesh. So the Kotzker Rebbe said, in our generation, it's very different. Back in those days, they used to take freezing cold mikvahs in the ice, that their hearts were on fire. But nowadays we have fiery hot mikvahs, but our hearts are icy. Kotzker Rebbe. Sharp.
So even though it's easier to eat an opinion of that, I heard the Alter Rebbe holds you should give 84 meals.
Days of tzedakah.
Days of tzedakah. And then in Breslau they say, read a tikkun or klali. Which ones, I get that eating an opinion of that is the easiest, which one's the most effective? Is it the results is fasting 84 days?
No, but even the Balatanya there says that at a certain point you should try to get up to 84 throughout the course of your life. Even if you combine half days, just like, it's a good thing if you could pull it off over the course of 120 years.
Fasting 84 days.
Correct.
For what?
For
Tshuva.
For tshuva. For tshuva. But Hashem says to us in the Dor Basroi, in the end of days, in the Ikvus of the Mashiach, Eini mevakesh mikem ela devarim. Really what I request of you in this generation isn't the fasting, isn't the ice plunges, even though people happen to think that's a very nice thing. And I think it is very nice to do. It's not usually an under the head thing, it's more just a body experience. It might be even dangerous to put your head under the ice for too long. And even though that has physiological benefits, it's a wonderful thing, an ice plunge. You don't need to pain yourself in our generation. Hashem says, I ask of you your words, to speak to me, your words of Torah and your words of Tefillah. That's what I'm asking of you. I want your words. I want words of Torah and Tefillah. Rachmana liba boy, I really want your heart. And Rosh Hashanah is the culmination of all these days of Elul, where I've been awakening myself and I'm yearning. And we're getting closer. We're getting closer. There's only 27 days to Rosh Hashanah. It's going to happen fast. It's kedai already now to bring out your machzors. To bring out your machzors. It's a great Rabbi in the mirror of Aaron David. And I've taken on this custom that he shared with me. I always felt something about this custom. He said, most people, they keep their machzors like on some shelf, like in the back where it gets all dusty, some maybe like up top, like Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Then Erev Rosh Hashanah, they have to go up on a couple chairs, reach up there, look in the back of the shelf, pull out the machzor, dust them all off, give them out to the family. But he said that, what a Yid should do? A Yid should keep his machzor on the main shelf, right there, where he keeps like his daily siddur there, his Likutei Moharan, his Tanya, his Chumash, right on the main shelf, like your go-to shelf where you put your wallet down. That main shelf should have your Rosh Hashanah and your Yom Kippur machzor, so that you see it every day of the year. And the entire year, you're just getting ready for Rosh Hashanah. That Motzi Rosh Hashanah is Erev Rosh Hashanah. Motzi Rosh Hashanah is Erev Rosh Hashanah. I'm getting ready for Rosh Hashanah already. And Befrat in the world of Reb Nachman, Motzi Rosh Hashanah is Erev Rosh Hashanah. If there's any tzaddik that spoke about the importance of Rosh Hashanah and the core idea of Rosh Hashanah, was Reb Nachman. Reb Nachman, by him it was the most pintle, the most ikr nekuda. HaRosh Hashanah shali oila al hakoil. Reb Nachman said the languages that he spoke about Rosh Hashanah, my Rosh Hashanah is oila al hakol mamish. It's the greatest mamish. There's nothing greater than my Rosh Hashanah. And different tzaddikim at different days could you do it by the tzaddikim that people would come to them. By Ishbitz, they would come to him, Parshas Vayigash, the Ishbitzer Rebbe. Parshas Vayigash was like the parsha that you came to the Ishbitzer. And different tzaddikim had different days that were like their days. Even nowadays, you go to Reb Nachum Kohen. Reb Nachum davens here by the Kohen, one of the Ziknei Yerushalayim. So his days are Chanukah. People from all over the world come. Religious, not religious. Ladies like throwing tichels on their head to walk in there. It is just to be by him on Chanukah. And he has this light. And he has a koyach on Chanukah, gives out blessings, and people have seen Yeshuas from these blessings. And every tzaddik has their inyonim, that their days that you go to them, that you're connected to them. Some people on Sukkot, other Rebbes, Tu B'Shvat. Tu B'Shvat is a big thing. Here in Eshet Torah, Tu B'Shvat is a big thing. There's an order that comes down, it's people years later that say that something moved in them on Tu B'Shvat, that they still years later, something happens. There's an or. And different tzaddikim lefi their thing. Some people on Shavuos, you go to see the Rebbe. Reb Nachman had 3 days that you went to see him.
Shabbos Chanukah.
Shabbos Chanukah, Shavuos, and Rosh Hashanah. But of those 3, Rosh Hashanah was in a different category. It was Oila al Hakol. It was a different thing entirely. And I barely understand it at all. But I'm just trying to begin to understand what it means. But by Reb Nachman, Rosh Hashanah was the day of the Pekidas HaKaras, of the barren women. And Knesset Yisrael as a whole were called a woman, which is very important to know. Ani l'doidi v'doidi li. that I am to my beloved, and the I that's to my beloved is the female element of me. I am to my beloved, and my beloved is to me. That if I feel that I've been barren this year, I haven't produced fruits, and fruits mean my Torah, fruits mean my davening, fruits mean my midas toivas, fruits mean my parnasa, which we've been speaking about. And I feel that I haven't been producing properly. So on Rosh Hashanah, Nifkada HaKaras, the barren women, those that are barren start to bear fruit once again. There's an opening on Rosh Hashanah that's so big. And the opening on Rosh Hashanah is I'm going back to the Evan Shasiyah. I'm going to the place where all fruit and all existence comes from. Because I became caught up in a tzimtzum. And in this world of tzimtzumim, a tzimtzum means I'm constricted. I'm not bearing fruit. This whole Torah Samach Aleph is getting out of tzimtzumim. Al dei emunas chachamim. Through going to the Chachma Ilah, going all the way up to the Emin Shasiyah, Yechaim lahaitzi mishpateinu laor, the mishpat, which are tzimtzumim. Is it like this? Is it like this? I can bring the tzimtzumim to the or. I can bear fruit once again. And the Gemara teaches us that something else very important happened on Rosh Hashanah. Yoitze Yosef HaTzadik mebeis ha'asurim. That Yosef HaTzadik was taken out of jail. On Rosh Hashanah, the crews went out, that Yosef HaTzadik was in the dungeon with the murderers and all the lowest of the low, all the machshefim and the black magic sorcerers of Egypt. We're not talking about Pasha de Chevra over there. These were the lowest of the low. And Yosef HaTzadik is all lebedik over there, talking about Hashem, being makarev everybody. Everyone's like all down in some dark, moldy dungeon. And he's like giving them chizzuk. And next thing he knows, the gate opens, and they say, Yosef, you have to go all the way up to the top. And within one moment, Yosef HaTzadik takes a shave and a haircut. He puts on royal garments and he's standing in front of the king and he becomes Mishnah Lamelech. On Rosh Hashanah, if you're in a dungeon, in a second you could become a Mishnah Lamelech. Yachayim la'oitzi mishpateinu la'or. Or mamish. Yassel.
Is this why the day that the Baal Tanya was freed is called the Rosh Hashanah of the Hasidim?
Mamish. Rosh Hashanah.
Do you think that's connected to how he was able to know all those languages when he went to the king?
When you go to the Evan Shasiyah, it's all up there. In Evan Shasiyah, everything's there. Because we learned in the Torah that kulam nirshamim be'evan Shasiyah. A language is also a tzimtzum. I'm speaking right now English as opposed to Mandarin. That's a tzimtzum. Or Francais. That's another tzimtzum. And remember, the whole Torah here is about oisius, the letters. And all the way up there, there's the ksav Hashem, Hashem's ksav. And the letters are all nirsham, but as the letters are coming down here in the different combinations, we barely touched that part of the Torah, of all the oisius. That's a whole layer of this Torah. We spoke the ksav yedenu, but how much did we really go into the oisius, and the surah of the oisius? Those are different tzimtzumim. But as you get up there, you see that it's Hashem who's writing the oisius. So up there, you know all the languages. And therefore the Sanhedrin, I don't know if they were just sitting like in their office with a Rosetta Stone. You know, like, I want to be zoicha to the Sanhedrin. I'm not sure they're like, okay, let me steig this up. Okay, I got, 5,000 modules to go to get to 70 languages. Maybe. That'd be a rational way to look at it. And I'm saying, how many people have the time just rationally, we're talking about the Sanhedrin, who knows Kol Torah Kula, they're spending a lot of time learning, like Torah. Just on a basic level, does anybody alive know 70 languages today? I'm sure you could chat GBT that. I'm sure that's part of the Guinness Book of World Records. What is the human being that knows fluently the most amount of languages? And I bet that guy probably Malcolm Gladwelled it and spent 10,000 hours at least on becoming a bucky in that. So if you're a bucky in 70 languages, well, how much time do you have for the rest of your life? Usually people that are buckies in something, like Rabbi Dober's yo-yo champion, who was only the second best yo-yo player in the world, and he did nothing with his life but play yo-yo. So, it's very impressive to see it, but there's a lot of other stuff you have to do in this world. So the Sanhedrin, how is the Sanhedrin mamish learning 70 languages through Rosetta Stone and still being the Sanhedrin? I want to suggest likely they were going up to the Evan Shasiya. And that's where the Sanhedrin Dafka sits. It's so fascinating. People speak about the separation of church and state. We don't believe in that. We believe that religious leadership is part of the entire kingdom of the Malchus and the city of God. It's one integrated system. And that's why the high court, which is the religious arm, if you will, is one with the government. It's all one. Where are we receiving our law from? Not from the Evan Shasiya. If it's all one integrated system, that's why the Sanhedrin sits in the Beis HaMikdash. So you have the creation of a law and order sitting in a place of religion.
That's why the
Where do they
Torah
sit?
In the Lishchas HaGozes, in the Beis Medrash, in the Beis HaMikdash. The Lishchas HaGozes.
I was just thinking about the Tower of Babel is where all the languages is where we have.
Well, they all.
The foundation stone is where it all unifies. It's where we get past where the Sanhedrin is, where we don't.
Beautiful.
All the languages.
Beautiful. The Tower of Babel is the separation from that, which is fascinating because the unification of rebellion. Tower of Babel is the unification of rebellion against God. So exactly in that place, in the time of the Tower of Babel, everybody spoke the same language. The Sofa Achas, one language. Look at Rashi there. Lashon HaKodesh. The whole world spoke Lashon HaKodesh. It's pretty good. The whole world spoke Lashon HaKodesh. The entire world. Then at the Tower of Babel, when the rebellion happened, so exactly at that point, God splintered the languages into 70. So one guy would ask somebody for a brick, and he thought that he said he wants a hammer, and he's trying to give him a hammer, not a brick, and the guy's going to bop you over the head with that hammer. I'm going to bop you over the head with this brick. It's like, what is going on here? But you see, all of the violence of the world starts from misunderstanding and miscommunication. Did you ever take that part out of the Torah? That's so important to think about. Where did violence really come from? And the violence of Cain and Hevel? Aya Hevel Achicha, where is your brother Hevel? Am I my brother's keeper? Hashomer Achiani? What was the miscommunication there?
They're responsible for each other.
So that was his response. If you look at the Targum Yonason, there's a very deep section there. It said there was a big machloikas. Yesh din v'yesh dayan, or ein din v'ein dayan. Is there a judge? Is there such a thing called din in the world, and a judge in Shemayim? And Hevel said there is. And Cain said, no, there's not. Ein din ve'ein dayan. I'm not responsible for my actions, which is really also responsibility. Am I responsible not only for somebody else? Am I responsible for myself? Am I responsible for myself? This is one of the most fundamental ideas that the Jew is here to bring the world, is that you're responsible first for your own life. If a person can't keep themselves together, how can he help somebody else? How does Peterson say it? Make your bed, clean your room. Yeah, that's Pasha. He says bed or room.
Room. But there is
I think bed is even more fundamental. Like, forget about your room. You want me to clean this room? You know what's going on there? You know that laundry pile in the corner that's becoming a monster? I don't go near the laundry pile. We don't talk about what's going on there. It's like, bro, you got I can't find a shoe for a while. It's like, I think it's under the pile. But I wouldn't go there if I were you. That's not okay. So I want to go help. I want to take care of my wife, but I got the pile that we don't really talk about at this point. Erev Pesach, we better deal with that. There's some Reese's Pieces wrappers under there. The white one, That can't be. How am I going to take care of other people? I have to take responsibility for myself. And Reb Nachman talks about this. He says if a person doesn't have leadership to himself, how can he be a leader for others? So this is such a major point, is a responsibility, taking responsibility for oneself. And really owning that responsibility, feeling connected to that responsibility. So much of the machloikas beginning from not taking responsibility, misunderstanding my role, that I need to take responsibility for myself. And that misunderstanding in the Tower of Babel led to so much splintering of human beings and violence. And look where we are today. Are we more unified as a world today or less?
Less.
What about 10 years ago?
The internet's connected us more than ever.
It's connected us, but has it?
It's also divided us.
If you would just stop, open up an X account and go on there and say what's new today? And okay. Would you get a feed of unification? Wow, we are all able to talk to each other and share such uplifting ideas with each other. Look how amazingly unified X as a platform is, which is maybe arguably the most, global town square to meet humanity, arguably. Would you see a spirit of, this is unbelievable how unified we are? Or would you see a spirit of, quite frankly, the opposite of that? What do you say, Bill?
Yeah, maybe the majority might be pretty negative, but there would be pockets of communities and groups of people that would be amazing. And didn't you say earlier that you just needed to let a little bit of light in and then it would fill up?
I hope so. Yes, it's true. Maybe you could share those pockets with the world. Share those pockets where there are communities that are so much building unity consciousness. And that light, yes, a little bit of light pushes away a lot of darkness. It's not proportional. If you light a candle in a room, you don't only have the amount of light that's directly beside the candle. You would have thought, well, according to the amount of candle I have light that is just enough light of a centimeter of light space beside it. But you light one candle and the whole room is illuminated. Now, it's not fully illuminated. There's still a darkness there. You light another candle, and another candle, and another candle. As we get to the end of the Torah, you're going to see the Rebbe starts talking about candles. and lighting candles and being a lamp lighter, starting to light up lamps. And there's something very moving in the end of the Torah. He starts adding this whole level and layer of the Torah called candles, which we have not touched yet in this Torah. So let's see the words now of the Rebbe as he's taking us into the world of Rosh Hashanah. He's taking us into the world of unity consciousness. And this is such a core message that the Jewish nation has for the world, of the unity consciousness. So says the Rebbe, "V'zeh bechinas masha noisim al Rosh Hashanah l'tzadikim." And this is what it means that on Rosh Hashanah we go to the tzadikim. Now it's interesting, tzadikim is a plural language or a singular language? Plural. Then on Rosh Hashanah we go to the tzadikim. Ki Rosh Hashanah hu yoim de dinah shel kol Hashanah. Because Rosh Hashanah is the day of din for the entire year. Now it's interesting, why do I have to travel to the tzadikim? What if I live by the tzadikim? Masha noisim al Rosh Hashanah l'tzadikim. Why do I have to travel there?
Because there is this idea of transformation, so you have to go through, like I would say, a certain process to transform yourself, and if it's too easy, too close, then you don't go through the process. You don't have time to think about what you did bad during your year, what you can improve. When you work, you think about, I think about many things. And,
But what if I live with the tzaddik? I live in his house. Do I still have to travel to the tzaddikim? Rosh Hashanah? Let's say you're the son of the tzaddik. Does this apply to me? Masha noisim? This that we travel to the tzaddikim?
What about spiritually?
Yeah, we're talking physical travel. We're talking.
I'm asking the rabbinic council here.
I feel like that when you travel, like you're more invested in something, so you're taken more seriously if you had like a long journey to get there, and then like once you're there, you're like, wow, I like spent all this time getting here. I better like really, really pay attention and soak it in. While as if you're living it, you might just take advantage of it more.
So you're saying you're going with a physical understanding of this? That if somebody was the son of a tzaddik, he should take a flight across the world and then fly back. Something like that, potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially. I mean, that there is, and we all feel that, Zach, is that, yeah, there is some level that when you travel somewhere, there's a lot of people traveling now to Uman. And they're not pushing to get there because Kiev is not open. People are going through Poland and Moldova. And many people will spend many, especially when the roads are very busy. They're going to spend a very long time. Tens of thousands, maybe more, 100,000. And it's going to be a very long journey. And it's not exactly always going to be such a VIP, travel conditions. People will be spending a lot investing in traveling to the tzaddikim. Many people will travel around the world to come to Eretz Yisrael. About tzaddikim.
Who's the quote that Vilna Gaon had on the Ramchal?
That he would have walked, if he would have been alive, he would have walked across Europe, from Lithuania to Italy, to sit by the feet of Rav Moshe Chaim Lutzato, the Ramchal, the Vilna Gaon. To travel, he would have walked by foot, just to be by the tzaddik. I don't think he said Rosh Hashanah.
Why was Ramchal so hated in his days? Why does that happen in history? Why can't they get to the flowers?
So it's interesting. Remember we saw in the Torah. Remember when we were learning about Isaiah 53?
Isaiah 53?
We love Isaiah 53. That yesh tzadikei ador she'emunosim shleima bevadai ve'af al pi kein yesh aleim machloikas. We said there shouldn't be machloikas if a person has emunas chachama. So the tzadikim have emunah in the chachma. So why is there machloikas? Vehu bechinas vehu choyter rabim nasa, and that he's bearing the iniquities of the many. And we started to go into Isaiah 53. V'avay noisam hu yispol, speaking about Klal Yisrael, bearing and going through challenges of the generation, Jewish suffering. Hainu sheyesh lei machloikas b'shvil ha'olam. He's experiencing machloikas because of what the world is going through. He's feeling what the world is going through. And therefore, they're going to experience certain machlokes, not because they're missing anything, but dafka because they're so perfected. The Rambam, people burn the Rambam's books, the Ramchal's books, is that it's a very normal thing that oftentimes very big people will experience machlokes. Very big people. Because he's able to bear it, what he's doing is he is fixing things for the generation. Remember the Tzadikei Ador all the way up to the Even Shasiyah. They're feeling everything. That's very interesting. The Gemara says that many tzaddikim had stomach problems. The Arizal had bad stomach problems. The Rosh Hashiva. Because they're digesting the energy of all of humanity. They're literally digesting all the pain and the hate and the suffering. And they're putting it through their system. It's very, to digest the world. I think if the Arizal looked on X for a second, it would be like, there's this much hate. I mean, the truth is he did. He Baruch HaKodesh. Imagine every one of you saw right now, in a flash, all the hate and all the fighting in 1 second. Could you digest that? So the tzaddikim that are feeling that, what do you think and their physical body is just a representation of a spiritual reality. So think about what they're trying to digest. We learned with our chevra, the Gemara in Gittin. Remember Rabbi Tzadok? Rabbi Tzadok would fast all the fasts. He was fasting for decades, for 40 years. To push off the Churban. He was experiencing such challenge, and many tzaddikim, the Ribnitzer, people who their bodies were like very frail because they experienced what was really going on. The Ribnitzer. I suggest everybody to read the biography of the Ribnitzer. Art School put it out. Very beautiful. I've seen people mamish through tshuva for reading the Ribnitzer's biography. And he lived like recently. Like there's most of the generation alive now knew him. Which is amazing. I was with him and saw him. And miracles. Open miracles. Open miracles from the Ribnitzer. Mamish. So tzaddikim are experiencing things, and the Ramchal was of the greatest. There's no base measure that does not have one of the books of the Ramchal, the Mesilas Yesharim. So much so that in the Musar movement, that became like the book. It became the book. In a Musar Vad that I'm in, one of the avodah, this is one of the most popular Musar Vads in the world, the Rav Lawrence Kellerman. So one of the avodah is that you read 20 minutes, at sometimes 30 minutes, a Mesilas Yesharim every day, your entire life. Which means there's people that have finished it hundreds of times. Rabbi Dober asked guys to finish the first chapter 100 times. 101, 150.
115.
115?
I'm on 15.
You're on 15.
Times the first chapter.
Fresh. But it's powerful. That's like the ultimate book. And the Ramchal, I would say on a simple, rational level as well, the Ramchal also went through challenges because he came after Shabbatai Tzvi Yimach Shema. He came right after the destruction that befell the world because of the false Messiah, Shabbatai Tzvi, and all the Frankism and all of that stuff. And everything that was spawned off of that movement of the Shabbatians. And now all of a sudden you had a young Kabbalistic rabbi that was teaching Kabbalah, and people were very nervous. And you can't say they were wrong. They were nervous because they saw Churban that happened. But they weren't able to distinguish between Emunas Chachamim and the Rebbe She'eina Hagan, which is our Torah. He was the embodiment of the Rebbe She'eina Hagan, which also meant that he was getting from Moisrus and Beis Akis, everything that we talked about. And that's why he was doing all sorts of averas with disgusting things, which goes with Baal Pa'or. So we want to align with the Emunas Chachamim, with the Baba Sali. Yeah.
As far as from Kabbalistic Rebbeim, I heard in Elul it's a great time to read the Palm Tree of Deborah. Do you recommend it?
Yes. Highly recommend.
Tomer Devorah?
Tomer Devorah is a wonderful sefer to learn in Elul, and it's considered basically Kabbalah, but in a language that's understood for our generation. And it's auspicious in Elul because Tomer Devorah goes over all of the ways to become like God. The 13 attributes of God, which is all getting us ready for Yom Kippur and all of Selichot, which the Sfardim are mamish, already arriving in Slichas, deep in the Slichas already, after only a couple days. My wife always has a zog that she likes to say, that when there's challenges in the world, so she'll say, it's almost Elul. Sfardim are going to start Slichas, it's all going to be okay. Once the Sfardim start Slichas, there's so much shmirah, so much protection, because the purity of Sfardi Slichas is just, it pierces through all the heavens. And you might not hear this from another Ashkenazi person, but I'll go even further. If you want to go to Sfardi Slichas, you can. Even if you're not Sephardi, you can go. You can go. You can go. Make sure you don't, not go to the Ashkenazi ones when they start. But you can go to Sephardi Slichos. You could be with the Am. You could be with the people. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And the whole way that Selichot Chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu chata. You know what you're saying? We have sinned before you. But you're talking about sinning and you're dancing? Because we're saying, Hashem, I know that I did wrong. I know. But I'm happy because I know and my relationship with you is real. That I know you're not out to get me and that you're going to help me. And therefore I'm already celebrating because I'm right now doing something that you would want me to do. I'm speaking to you. And therefore I'm already in a spirit of hope. I'm already in a spirit that there's a brighter future coming. And therefore the Sephardim, so beautiful. They understand this so beautiful. So Rabbi Yisai, we've begun the sugi of Rosh Hashanah here in the Torah Samach Aleph. We should be zoicha mamish to connect, to be together, to be connected all the way up to the Evan Shasiyah. We should be zoicha mamish to the Bekidas HaKaras, to the opening, that anything that's barren, all the parts of me this year that haven't not been producing, I should know that Rosh Hashanah is going to open that up, and all of Elul is the Pischuli Pesach Shel Machat. Just open up for me the size of a needle, and I'll open up for you everything. Eini mavakish mikem ela devarim. All I ask from you is just your words. Just speak to me. Just open up a little. Just open your heart to the Gemara. Open your heart to Tosfos. Open your heart to Lashon Kodesh. Open your heart to Tefillah. Open your heart to Benam L'Chavera in Tikkun Amidas. Open your heart to Emunas Chachamim. Open your heart to your own Chidushim. Believe in your own Chidushim. El is a month to write your Torah, to write, to speak. Open your heart to your Cheshbon and Nefesh. Making Kabbalahs. Hashem, these are the things that I want to do, and they don't have to be big Kabbalahs. Rabbi Melech Biderman comes here, and by the way, the love of a Rebbe is already here by the Kaisel. That's right, he just came in. And a melech who comes here to Esha Torah and Rosh Hashanah tells all the boys on Rosh Hashanah, you have Kabbalahs, write them down. I'm going to take them up to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. I'm going to throw them on the caver. And he always tells the boys, he said, don't worry, you can write them in English. Like I said, Rabbi, I don't know Hebrew. He's like, don't worry, Rabbi Shimon also speaks English. He knows the Shivim Lashonas. You can write them in French, you can write them in Portuguese, whatever you want. That Hashem, I want to give myself to you. And we should be Zoicha Zayin Mamish, to know the Torah, to be connected to the Torah, to be connected to Rosh Hashanah. It's Oila Ala Kol, the highest thing, Rosh Hashanah. To be Rosh Hashanah by the Tzaddikim, to be Noisin our Rosh Hashanah the Tzaddikim, to travel to the Tzaddikim, to go through the challenge of what it means to, I want to be by the Tzaddikim on Rosh Hashanah, to listen to the Kol Shofar. And we've begun now. We've begun Rosh Hashanah. The rest of the whole Zman, we're going to be continuing in Rosh Hashanah. And this is going to be like the climax of this Torah, the epoch, the zenith of the Torah. As we get to Rosh Hashanah, because after Rosh Hashanah we're going to be going to another Torah, Likutei Moharan. But until then, we're mamish kol kuloi arayin, we're kol kuloi in the mikvah of Elul, the 40 days of Elul, the 40 saw of the mikvah. We're moving through a mikvah of time right now, working our way to Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. We should be zeicha mamish to see v'secha zeno eineinu b'shuvach al-tzion, to Zion b'rachamim, with Mashiach Tzidkeinu and Binyan Beis HaMikdash b'mehera v'yimenu. Amen.
Amen.
Oyam washreinu matkogeinu manayim go'aleinu. Oyam washreinu matkogeinu manayim go'aleinu. Shkoyach Rabbi Isai. Call to my dear friends.